What's up, everyone? This is your man, Mr. Fulton. We are expecting a guest today. My name is Fulton Miles, and welcome to a very special stream. I'm your host, Mr. Fulton, and we have a very special guest with us, none other than Pete Berwick. He does a lot of acting, he does a lot of singing, he does a lot of music, and he's friends with Richard Goodall, which we will get in pretty soon. But smash up the thumbs up button and share out the stream, and let's do the interview with our very special guest star. Please give it up for Pete Berwick. Welcome to the show, Pete.
How you doing, Fulton? Thanks for having me
Great.
on this morning.
Yeah, you're welcome. Um, so I know you guys are friends with Richard Goodall.
Yes.
Congratulations on him for winning America's Got Talent.
He's a good man.
Yes, he is. And I've been trying to get him on my show, so.
I'm sure he's a very can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, he's a very he's a real guy. He's a down to earth guy. I'm sure I can't speak for him, but I just say he's slammed. He's obviously overwhelmed being crowned the winner of AGT, and he's getting all kinds of requests and offers. But all I can say is reach out to him and see what happens.
Yeah, I've been reaching out to him, so.
Okay,
So.
I don't know whether, with his contract being a winner and everything, I don't know if he's under contract and if he's not able to, take every interview or opportunity. It might be he might be in a specific situation, being the winner. I don't know. I can't tell you. I can't speak for that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So can you tell everyone what your name is and where you're from?
I'm Pete Berwick. I live in the Chicago area. I live in northern Illinois, about an hour or 20 minutes north of the city. Okay. And a quiet little area close to the Wisconsin border. Okay. I can watch the ducks fly over my house and coyotes in the backyard, that sort of thing.
Nothing but coyotes. So what is your job? So you're like in movies and everything. So.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the one film that you guys been working on?
Well, my most recent film, Fulton, was I portrayed Frank Sinatra in a movie called Before Dallas, and this is in post-production right now, and it's based on a year before Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. There was actually an assassination attempt on him here in Chicago in the Blackstone Hotel, which is right downtown, and it obviously didn't happen because it happened a year later in Dallas, and so it's based on that. That's why it's called Before Dallas, and I portray Frank Sinatra and his relationship with Sam Giancana, mafia guy, head of the outfit, one of the heads at least, and then my relationship with Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy, yet to be president, but so and I'm a bit of a historian on this subject. So when the role came to me, when I was offered the role, it was like a preparation meeting opportunity because I was well read on this history. I'm a Kennedy historian. Same with Sinatra, the Rat Pack. A lot of my comedy, like the comedy I did on America's Got Talent, which I was on 2 times. That's where I met Richard Goodall the second time. But my stand-up routine is based on the old shtick of the 60s, the Rat Pack kind of stuff. cornball, one-liners. It's not the kind of comedy that really flies today. Some will say it's not politically correct, but I don't bother with all that. So anyway, it's a really solid film, and I expect it should be on one of the major streaming platforms soon. I don't have a specific date.
Right.
Yeah.
So how long? Actually, so what made you choose this job as a movie actor?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. What was the question?
What made you choose this job as a movie actor?
Oh well, yeah. How did I get into acting? Well, that's a long story. How can I edit myself here? Because ever since I was a kid, I'm talking 7, 8 years old, I knew I wanted to be in show business. I actually remember being in my crib. I actually a lot of people don't remember being in their crib, but I do. I remember being terrorized in my crib with the shadows on the walls and things I thought I saw crawl under my crib, and nightmares. But I mean, I remember wanting to be an actor. Well, not necessarily an actor. I just knew I wanted to. And then when I got older, like 7 or 8, I remember watching television, and back then there was only like 4 or 5 channels you could get, and then at 10 o'clock at night, it would turn into just a test pattern, all you'd have on your screen was snow. But one of the shows I remember watching regularly was the Dean Martin show, and Dean Martin coincidentally was part of the Rat Pack with Frank Sinatra. They were friends, Dean Martin, the singer, actor, comedian. And I was influenced by him. I knew that's what I wanted to do: tell jokes, be in movies, be a singer, record albums. So that was the ground zero. That was the starting point for me. And as I got older, I started playing guitar. I started bands, and I've got a lengthy music history. I've got 13 albums out since the 80s, and the records I put out in the 80s are out of print, but I just finished my 13th album recently. All my music can be found on iTunes, and my movies can be found on anywhere from Amazon to Apple Prime to Tubi. But yeah, so show business is my life, and I've done a lot of different things in all avenue of show business. For 20 years, I was had my own. I started an entertainment company called Big Top Entertainment, and I was actually a professional clown. And I did parties, corporate events, and from there I built my company to offer singing telegrams. So I incorporated my talents as an Elvis impersonator, a comedian, all these zany characters and whatnots, and I built it from there. I never limited myself, I think any person can be whatever they want to be through study, through reading. And now, I didn't always have the internet, when I was honing my chops and my craft, I still depend on books. I think everyone should read. I believe books are a great resource for being inspired. And but of course now here we are. Here's this magical internet where you're in one square, I'm in another square. Nobody has to get in a car and even drive anywhere. But the sky's the limit. So that's where I am now. And but it's still tough. It's a tough racket. It's tough to make a living in show business, but I've managed to. And if anyone's interested in making a living in show business, they have to be you have to be willing to sacrifice for it, because there's no easy fix. There's no becoming a star overnight. I'm not a star. No, most people don't know who the hell I am, but you can carve out a living for yourself if you're willing to pay the dues and you might find yourself doing a lot of things you really don't want to do.
So let's see. Um, how did you get your role in the movie? Like all kinds of movies you were in.
Well, you audition. You can subscribe throughout the years. I've subscribed to pitch sheets. They used to be mailed to me, but now you can you can subscribe to movie listings online. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to promote any of anything on your show. I have no dogs in the race as far as promoting pitch sheets that people have to pay for. I think most actors, if you're serious, look, anybody can Google these days. What are they going to learn from me? It's like, so how did I get into acting? Well, yeah, I started 8 years old, but yeah, as far as like, I'll tell you, Fulton, I have to think a little bit. My mind's a little foggy this morning. But actually in the early 90s, my wife Denise and I were in Nashville because I was signed to a small record deal, and I was working a job at the car wash. Somehow I found an agent, or an agent found me. It's hard to recollect how I hooked up with this agency. Things were harder then. We didn't have the internet. You had to actually like walk through doors. You had to actually pick up a telephone. But so this agent started calling me with work, and one of my first jobs was as an extra in a music video. It was a country rock band called the Kentucky Headhunters, and then it went from there. And then I did industrial films. I worked in low rent movies that never went anywhere. And then this agent got me a job in a movie directed by John Frankenheimer, who is a legendary film director. You recognize the name? You're nodding your head.
I think I do recognize the name.
Yeah, he directed The Birdman of Alcatraz, The Manchurian Candidate with Frank Sinatra, and I was actually in a scene with oh my God, what's wrong with me this morning? Dude, I'm not hungover or anything. I'm just a little.
You're fine.
Samuel L. Jackson. I was actually.
Yes, I recognize him.
He wasn't famous yet. This was like 92. It might have actually been more like 1993. And I was in a scene with him where I get stabbed outside his jail cell. It was a prison movie. We're all convicts in this movie. It was called Against the Wall. I didn't know who he was. He was only a supporting actor in this movie. He wasn't even the lead actor. And that was very inspiring for me to be a part of this. It was like 2 months of steady work. And then after I left Nashville, I came back here. My record deal fell through. I had some great experience there. I went on the road. I opened for some acts. I did a show with Charlie Daniels, but everything looks better on paper, Fulton. I hate to come off as a little jaded and burnt out, but I am. But I'm 66 years old, and I've been in show business for 50 years. I started my foray into show business when I was semi-homeless, living in a station wagon in Central Florida. That's a long story, but I basically semi-homeless, and I was 17, 16. But I put together I made an attempt to put together a band, which did not work out. And then I came back here in 78, 77. And I put together a punk band called the Generics around that time. And we made a good run at it. We had good gigs and bad gigs. Sometimes we'd fill a club, and then the next 5 or 6 times nobody was there. But that's called paying your dues. And I started to develop an image. a name for myself as being somewhat worthy of taking a look at. Then, that band, I never kept a band together long enough because I either had to fire people or they quit or just didn't work out. Usually I just fire band members, because even my most recent band in 2019, I fired them because it's, so many artists, sadly, and they have a sense of entitlement. They don't want to work hard. They don't want to shovel shit like I have. They just want it all handed to them. And unfortunately, the good news is the internet, because you and I can, you live in Indiana, right?
Right. Yep.
Are you in Terre Haute, where Richard lives?
Not exactly. We live in Cicero, but I do go to Tahoe.
Okay.
For Special Olympics.
Yeah. Well, my point is, thanks to the magic of the internet, here you are in one square. I am in one square. We can do this interview without one of us driving hundreds of miles or whatever.
Exactly.
But also because of the internet and social media, you've got this bottomless pit of aspiring art people. I don't know what. And I think there's this illusion. There's this illusion with a lot of aspiring talent that they're gonna become famous really fast, or they're gonna have all these millions of followers, whatever it is. But if you don't dedicate yourself to the craft, the art, the real art is in honing your craft. It's called art. Content creators, what does that mean? I don't know. Creating content. I can upload a picture of the rabbit I saw in my backyard this morning, and that makes me a content creator. If I could give any advice to aspiring people who want to be something, and it's a cradle to the grave thing. I'm 66 years old, and I thank you. You have me on your show because you consider me somewhat of a success. But I'm learning things every day. I read books every day. I doubt myself in a big way. I don't care about all the things I've done, the books I've written, the albums I put out, being on America's Got Talent twice, being on reality television, which I have been, acting with Samuel L. Jackson to all my movie work through the years, and I've been nominated 10 times for best acting awards and film festivals around the globe. I still have to wake up and prove myself every day, and it's harder than ever. Actually, I think it was easier to make a name for yourself before the internet, to be honest with you, because now with the internet, you're competing with all this. I don't know. I'm trying to be nice here, but it's a double-edged sword. Everything's always been a double-edged sword. And so if you're gonna, if you're going to dedicate yourself to the arts, you have to get it out of your mind that you're going to be famous, because odds are you're not going to be famous. And that's even better, because then you're going to work that much harder. And even though you're never going to be famous, which I'm not, some people think I am, but I am not, you're going to end up being the best that you could possibly be at what you do. And there'll always be those better than you, regardless whether you're a baseball player, a glider pilot, a cook, an actor, or you with your show. There's always going to be people better than you, but that doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. All that matters is that you every day work hard at being the best at what you do, and you'll sleep so much better at night than scrolling around going, oh, look at this, they're prettier than me, they're doing better than me, oh, they're in Hollywood right now doing a movie, and I'm only doing a movie in Corn Cob, Idaho, or whatever. You do what you have to do every day, and you work at it, and you study, you read, and I know people personally who they come to me, how do I become an actor? And I'll the first thing I'll do is I'll give them a list of all the books they need to read, which I have here in my library, and I read them over and over. Books on the business, books on the craft, all sorts of, and biographies. You can learn a lot by reading biographies. So say you want to be an actor, read biographies on actors who have been successful at it. And sometimes I never hear from them again because I think I gave them too much homework and they're going somewhere else for a second opinion. They want somebody to pull a magic wand out of their pocket and go, here, let me sprinkle my good luck fairy dust on you. Or let me give you the phone number of this magical agent. His name is Joe the Genie, and he's sitting behind a big desk with a cigar, and he's just going to make you a star just because you're so special, just because you were born. And it's frustrating. And I really do want to help people. It's like, I didn't know you for Adam. And when you messaged me on Facebook saying, can I interview you? I said, yeah, sure. I got the time. I'll give you an interview. So I'll mentor anyone who comes to me privately. Let's not talk about it publicly, but email me, come to me. And if you're serious and you want to dedicate yourself to this, I will help you in any way I can. But sadly, a lot of people they want to take the easy road, and there is no easy road.
True. Yep. So let's see. What is your favorite part of being in the movie?
I'm sorry, Fulton. Say that again.
Sorry. What was your favorite part of being in the movie show business?
Oh, well, my favorite. Oh gosh, that's a really, really good question. It's a lot. It's just. I'm not just saying because it's a lot of fun, because it is. But another word that starts with F besides fun is frustration. It's a tough business. It's very competitive. But when you do get a role, it's a great feeling, and it gives me a chance to it gives me a chance to be something besides myself. I mean, we have no choice. We're born who we are with what we got, right? And the thing about acting is you can get out of yourself for the time that you're committed to this film or TV project, and you can become someone else. You're given a different name. I'm no longer Pete. I'm Frank or Bill or whatever, or Fulton. So I said Frank. I said I've had like about 5 roles where my character's name was Frank. The most recent, Frank Sinatra. And it's just, there's nothing like it. You get totally immersed in it. You become this character. And I take it very seriously, and I try to learn about this character. Sometimes you're not given enough information because the director's not that experienced. So I'll ask the director, you got to give me more backstory. Where was this character born? Was he divorced? Where is he coming from? Does he have a drinking problem? Is he delusional? Because sometimes you have the script and you try to read the subtext, and what the subtext is, that's the kind of like the hidden meaning between the lines. It's like, and you could pick out things like, oh, okay, this guy likes to wear this kind of outfit, or this is his favorite food, whatever it is. And you can learn many things from the character just based on his quirks, his likes, his dislikes. And so I try to become immersed as much and learn as much about the character as I can. And this comes from my studies, though. And the more you learn, the more educated you are in the word. I'm a historian. I try to know as much as I can about the history of film. Right now, for the second time, I'm reading a really good book on the history of comedy, going all the way back to the early 1900s, up until the modern day. And the more you know, the more you read and study. And the more experienced you are, and that comes with doing. And don't be intimidated if you're a young aspiring actor watching this right now. You got to start somewhere. I started somewhere, but you can get ahead of everyone else by reading and studying and knowing yourself and watching movies and learning the art and just educating yourself. So when you get a script like I do, I get the work done sooner. I don't drive myself crazy. Like, I don't know how to approach this character, you know. And then again, I'm more discerning. I don't audition for everything that crosses my desk, or I don't just do it for the money. Although the money's fine. Although if you're entering acting, if you want to be an actor just for the money, well, you know, you better be ready for some hard times, because like 90% of actors make less than $10,000 a year. Really, it's like 5% of all SAG union actors maybe actually make a living with it. I'm not union, and I'm not gonna. If you want to go union, fine, but I'm not. And I don't want some suit and some high rise in Hollywood telling me what I can and can't do. Who doesn't have my interests at heart? I'm not saying I won't ever be. Anyway, that's technical stuff. But yeah, so Fulton, there's a lot to love about it. It's a great art. It's a great art, and it's but it's tough, you know. And what's frustrating about it is you'll it's not just me, but even name actors in Hollywood. I've read interviews with them. They'll finish a film and they may go a year between until they find their next job. Maybe not Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks can do whatever he wants, but I mean, there's a lot of formidable actors who not everybody's a name, you know, oh, I never heard of that one. All because someone hasn't heard of an actor does not mean that they're not making a great career out of it. But it's always tough because it's not a 9-to-5 job. You know, you'll work. And you might make some decent money, you might not. And it may be months until you land your next role. So, you know, you talk about mental health. Well, my mental health is fine, but I get very frustrated. And in between, that's why I'll take it upon myself to work on other projects in the arts. I write. I'm a recording artist, you know, and I look for other opportunities, because you could drive yourself crazy just waiting around for that next slice of work to cross your desk.
How many movies have you been in?
That's another good question. Between films, short films, to feature films, and a feature film is anything but a short film. It's usually like an hour and 15 minutes or longer.
Right.
Stunt work, commercials, over 100. My IMDb page. The IMDb is the online site where all actors, you know, all actors should have an IMDb page. If you go on there, my website is imdb.com/Pete Berwick. You can see all my credits, and it's a lengthy list. And yeah, so I think I haven't been on there in a while, but I know I'm well over 100 by now. And a lot of it's junk. Some of it's just stuff that didn't go anywhere through the years, you know, student films, short films. But some of it, a lot of it's formidable, solid work. Yeah, so 100 and counting.
Okay. So how long have you been acting?
Well, I ever since I was born, really. But no, technically, yeah, like I said earlier, Fulton, my first acting work was, I'd say it was 1992. Of course, I look at it as all of it as acting, even my music work. You know, even fronting all my bands through the years, you're playing a role from the moment you step on stage. You know, that's really where I you know, I never really had stage fright, but you got to like lose your stage fright somewhere. And if I had any qualms about, and no, I didn't slide out of the womb or even set foot on stage with my very first band in 1978, with the confidence that I eventually was able to became a part of my DNA. But yeah, 1992, I would say, was my when I started acting. And it's funny, I wasn't really looking to be an actor. That I looked at the acting work I took on as just side money as a way to get out of the car wash or whatever junky job I was working at the time. While I was signed to the small record label in Nashville at the time, and I did quite a bit of it. And then when through the years, I was focused more on recording my albums, going on the road. I touring a lot with my bands and just as a solo artist. And then I did some work here and there. I was on a reality show on ABC called Wife Swap in 2008. And then, when I got on America's Got Talent in 2017, when I was flying back from LA, it just kind of like I did a lot of thinking. And I thought, I think I'm going to return to acting because it gave me a lift. It gave me I thought, what? If I can get on America's Got Talent like I did, I was, and this was also after 20 years of my company, Big Top Entertainment. I was performing. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes I forget about that, but that was a big part of my life from 96 to 2016. That's when I pulled the plug on it. I just didn't want to do it anymore. But so for 20 years, I was booking, and my wife Denise was helping me manage the company and doing a lot of the work, booking and working the phones. I was booking between 200 to 300 events a year, as an entertainer. Comedy work, and a lot of it was kids' birthday parties. It is a comedy. I call it a clown, but I kind of got to not like that word after a while. So I it's more like a comedy entertainer for kids. I didn't really do all the makeup and the big nose. It wasn't that. It was more. I was more like a high-end comedy performer. I was in high demand even before I bought a computer in 2001. My phone was ringing off the hook with minimal advertisement in local print. I developed a really good reputation as a kid entertainer, and it was nuts. I was going out on a Saturday and doing 6 or 7 parties, events, company, corporate events, and I built on that. It was a lot of it was comedy, but then I was also emceeing events. I was booking other entertainers. And that what enabled me to, so fortunately, it was all acting. Acting is acting, whether it's in a living room, backyard barbecue, or on a big stage like America's Got Talent or ABC, or I've been on all the major networks. And so it was, it's funny, it's like I was learning how to be a consummate entertainer when I really wasn't aware of it, because I was paying the bills. And it was there's a saying called there's a saying that goes, the necessity is the mother of invention. And in other words, when you really have to do something, when you have an invisible gun to your head saying you got to do this or else. I got a kid, I got a wife, I got a mortgage, and so I'm out there just booking 300 events a year, driving around entertaining people from fancy banquet halls to TV sets to backyard parties to living rooms to nursing homes to high schools, you name it. There was nowhere that I did not entertain, and I would enter a room and just own that room and take over, and I was paid good money. And every job I did, every event I entertained at, there were countless other people that saw me, and then I would get home and I would have messages saying, I just saw you here, I just saw you there, I want to hire you for my company's picnic or whatever event they're having. Or if it was some mom who saw me entertaining some kid down the block at their birthday party, and it just took off, man. And it's like, so after 20 years, Fulton, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to be 60 years old and still, just doing that the work, 300 events a year, and I got to around 2016. I was booking more events than there were in days in the year, and with my music too, I was performing my music 7 days a week. And so in 2000, it was around, and then COVID came and we're all shut down. We're all sitting around. And I had an epiphany, and I decided to just retire from that sort of live entertainment and then just focus on acting. And it's actually a lot easier now. I've kind of like gained this reputation. My friends and my fans, a lot of people call me the hardest working man in show business. I would say I'm the hardest working man in show business, or there's hard working women, of course. I'm obviously a man, but I'm not. There's people working much harder than me now because they're younger and they're able to, and God bless them. But yeah, from now until my semi-homeless days living in my station wagon in Central Florida in 1975 or 6, I have busted my ass. And I would like to be working much harder now, but it's been kind of a dry spell. The actors' strike has slowed things down. It's become more competitive than ever because of the internet. But, I take what I can and I work on it.
What do you like best about acting?
Oh, well, I think I already covered that, but
Okay.
just the art. I appreciate the art. I respect the art. And like I said, I love taking on different characters. I love rising to the challenges and immersing myself in the character. And I learn things about myself. And, now Frank Sinatra was the last role I played. My next film work is next week. That's a short film, and it's all important. But Frank Sinatra was very challenging because instead of playing a fictional character, I'm playing this icon. Everybody knows who he is. Everybody knows what he sounds like when he talks and sings. So, man, that was a little bit intimidating, and I believe I did a good job. I won't know until the film is out, but so all roles are different, and that's what I like about it. It's the opposite of a 9-to-5 job where you're going in every day and you're pretty much doing the same thing and that's it. Acting, it's like, man, there's no ceiling, there's no limit to how far you can take it, and it's every day's Christmas. That's what I like best about it.
Exactly. Do you have any hobbies that you might have?
Hobbies. That's a good question. That's a good question. I really don't know how to answer it because my work is my life. My life is my work. Show business. I mean, to me, I can't say playing guitar is a hobby because that's part of how I made my living. That's what I'll tell anyone who wants to make it in show business. Be versatile. I know bass players, drummers, well, that's all they do, and they can't work if they can't join a band, and I know guitar players who can, they're like Jimi Hendrix. They can play me into the ground. I'm not really a lead guitar player, but I'm a good rhythm player. And I can, even now, I get offers all the time. Come back and play at my restaurant. Come back and sing in my bar. But I'm burned out on that. I kind of like after over 50 years of that, I don't have to do it anymore because I don't need the money. Like I'm not saying I won't. I'm not saying I'm too good to go back and do that anymore. But I'm just worn out from it. I'm taking a little bit of a breath. I just wrote 2 books in the last 2 years. I recorded 3 albums in the last 2 years. I'm just kind of slowing down a little bit right now. Not really. I don't have to always have my plate full all the time. My wife and I are going to Madison Wisconsin tomorrow to do some modeling work. So I do that. And my heart is not in that as it would be taking on the next role in a film. But it's nice to get out of the house, make some money. And, no, my hobbies, well, it was boxing for a while. But I used to box in the 80s, and then I returned to it in my 50s because I'm crazy. And but I was holding my own against fighters much younger than me, obviously. But the injuries just were piling up, and I didn't need that anymore. But I guess you could say boxing was a hobby. And it still is, because every morning I shadow box. I still study fight. I still study film on YouTube. I love to watch fighters. I'm a big boxing historian and fan. But so, yeah, of course, a hobby is something you're not paid to do. But most most of the things that some people might be hobbies to some people, like singing or playing music or whatever, I made a living at. So it's hard to say. Is drinking beer a hobby? I don't know. I like to hike. I like to take long walks. Reading. Of course, though, I look at reading, though, as part of my work, part of my craft. I don't read stuff just to read. I look at my reading as a connection to my work. I want to, and I read a lot. You can't see my library here in my office. I have libraries in every room. I got piles of books in every bathroom, everywhere I go, my bedroom, my family room. There's piles of books. And I look at reading as learning. I want to, when I'm done reading a book, I want to make sure that what I just read will transcend to my work as an actor and or a writer. Like, here's my latest. I've written 6 books, so I'm going to plug this if I can. It's called I Ain't Him, My Life in Show Business, Whoever I Am. It's the size of a phone book. It's 826 pages. So basically, this is the diary I never kept. It's available on Amazon, as are all my books, and all my albums are on iTunes and all the other platforms wherever you go. But so yeah, that that was a labor of love. It's a little pricey, I wish Amazon would lower the price, but they won't let me sell it at any less than what it is because it's such a huge, the mailing and the printing, But I mean, I that's just something I wanted to get off my short list. I wanted to author my own memoirs, my own autobiography, and so that's my life and show. I cover it all, for a lot of what we've talked to here on your show up until this year, and I had to end it sometime. I actually kept that short at 826 pages. I actually kept it short. Yeah, there's a lot of photographs and yeah. So, but that's why I Ain't Him, My Life in Show Business, Whoever I Am, and that's why there's not one thing that defines me. It's not music, comedy, acting, writing, a business owner. I feel like I don't know. I'll go back to, like, you asked me, Fulton, what do you like most about acting? What's fun about it? It's I guess in a way it's like I've always been running from myself. Aren't we all? Perhaps. I don't think any of us are really satisfied or happy with who we are. We always want to be better. I believe it's my way of going. You know what? I'm so tired of, like, what people expect of me or what I expect. I set a higher bar for myself. We shouldn't really care about a bar that anyone else set, unless it's your spouse or somebody really close to you. Then you don't want to let them down. But as far as people who really, you don't mean nothing to them anyway. That's why I can't stand trolls online. I have no I have no patience for a troll. If you're going to come, if I don't know you and I make a post and you're going to come on there and just try to be a jerk, you're gone. And the same with just regular life. We set our own expectations, and I can't speak for anyone else, but I'm really hard on myself to the point where I drive myself nuts and I go crazy. And so when by putting on, this is my character, Tony Baloney.
Okay.
And this is how I was on America's Got Talent 2 times. Okay. And so anyway, he's just one of a countless number of characters I portrayed. And by becoming these characters, alter egos, whether it's a character I created or it's a character that a writer, a director created, and they want me to fill the shoes of this character, it's wonderful because I'm able to escape from myself, you know. And I'll often joke, like, yeah, a girlfriend can leave you, a friend can leave you, anyone can leave you because you're a pain in the ass. Unfortunately, I can't leave me. I'm stuck with me. You know, and I can't speak for you or anyone else, but sometimes we are our own worst enemy. We get in the way of ourselves, you know. And I think I'm reading a really good book right now by this guy. His name is Levon Washington, I think is his last. No, Levon Franklin, I think. And he's a producer in Hollywood. He's a really good guy. And he talks about how we sometimes we set our aspirations are too high, and we should set goals and we should have aspirations, and but sometimes we set them so high that we set the bar so high for ourselves that we don't think about setting bars that aren't so high along the way. And then someday you'll find yourself. I want to tell you a really good story because I don't know if you've heard of the law of attraction. It's called the law of attraction. And what that means, it has nothing to do with like relationships. It means the law of attraction means you attract in your life what you believe. Not just like, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. No, you'll see it when you'll believe it. So if you really, whatever it is you want in life, whether spiritual, material, whatever, take your pick. Claim it for yourself. Don't say, I can't have that because I'm not good enough. Say, no, the universe, God, whatever, it's already there. It's already been bestowed for me. I just have to take some more steps and it's going to come to me. And I'll use an example of this one guy. I can't think of his name, but I was reading it. I think he wrote a book I read. I can't think of his name. But one day he was unpacking a box. He had just moved into this beautiful mansion, like on the ocean in California or something. You know, something. I can't speak for you, Fulton, but I certainly can't afford a mansion on Malibu. Okay, maybe you can. I don't know your economic situation, but and he's unpacking this box, and it was a piece of paper he had cut out. He's looking at it, and he throws it to the side. Excuse me, let me unplug my phone. There was charged, and then suddenly he looks back at the scrap of paper he took. He said, "Wait a second," and this was a picture of the exact mansion he's unpacking inside of right now that he had clipped out of a magazine a long time ago, years, maybe decades ago, and posted it on his wall so he could look at it every day saying, that's my house. I'm going to live in that. He forgot that he had clipped this thing out. There's the picture of the mansion. He's inside right now. It's the exact mansion. Isn't that an amazing story? It's almost hard to believe, but I have experienced that on a much smaller scale. Not quite a mansion in Malibu, but you know, material things aren't everything. And the law of attraction brought me my wife, it brought me my kid, it brought me my life. I remember before I was making a living as an entertainer, I had these images in my head that I was in a living room entertaining kids as a professional clown, kid entertainer, comic entertainer for kids, whatever. This vision just came to me. And then suddenly after I did that for 20 years, and that's what enabled me to, I don't use the word retirement. That sounds like pre-death, but that's what enabled me to expand and go into acting full time and finance my albums and all these other things. It's amazing. And I just think I believe in dreaming. I believe in dreaming big, and I believe in just make that dream a reality. You just say to yourself, this is what I want, and I'm not going to wait for anyone to tell me I can have it or get lucky or it can never happen to me. Because what happens is when you tell yourself, this is mine, nobody can tell me it's not mine. I claim this dream for myself. Your subconscious mind, there's a conscious mind and the subconscious mind, does not disagree with you. It's not going to be like all these friends and trolls. Oh, yeah, nah, yeah, dream on. It's going to say, okay. And while you're sleeping and while you're going through your day-to-day things that the conscious mind is like, oh, you're hungry, you eat. The conscious mind says, step on the brake. There's a stop sign. Your subconscious mind isn't interested in all this day-to-day stuff. It's the part of the mind that dreams big. It's the part of the mind that whatever you tell it, it's going to process. So when that saying, sleep on it, I believe in that. A lot of times you go to bed like, oh, I don't know how to resolve this problem. And I'll wake up, you'll wake up and go, that was a subconscious mind processing the conflict of your conscious mind. So that's what drives me, Fulton. That's what drives me. Yeah. And whether it's your show, whether you want to be the next late night show guy with 20 million viewers, you know what? Me or no one else on this planet can tell you that you cannot do that. You tell yourself you can, and you keep telling yourself that, and see what happens. Your subconscious mind, it will never, it's the one thing, that part of your mind that's dreaming, it's not going to disagree with you. It'll say, okay, let's do it. Let's do it, baby. Let's do that. Now, I'm not saying that you or anyone else can just say, okay, now I can just lie on the couch and binge watch Netflix all day because my subconscious mind's going to make that happen for me. But I that's the only thing I could leave on this planet when I go to my grave. And I'm going to be around for a while yet. I don't know how else to put it. There's no easy answers, but I do believe. And, the internet's a great tool now. I didn't always have this tool, and I use it as a tool, as a great place to build relationships and meet people that before you could never possibly have any dream of meeting in your life. So employ modern technology. Only a fool would not. That's what we're doing right now on this interview. But I think you still go beyond there. There's ways. The mind is bigger and more advanced than any modern technology, and you got to believe in yourself. So sorry, I tend to go on these. I tend to go on these long rants and speeches, but it's only because I'm passionate about it, and I really want. I feel like everything I've learned and gone through myself and the success I've had, I feel like I'm selfish if I don't share some of that. And I know some people will listen to me or whatever. And yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I know sometimes I say that to myself, blah, blah, blah. But I believe in people, and I want to leave something behind, that if just one young person could maybe, and I have had people tell me that I've changed their life and they've taken on things that they were scared to do by listening to me or looking at my example. And if just one person can, then my work here is done,
exactly. I actually been practicing my ukulele. I don't know if you ever heard that, Pete.
I didn't catch that full. No, I'm sorry. You actually what?
I actually play the ukulele now.
Oh, oh, good. Have you? Oh, you've been doing that for a while.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
just had my ukulele class, and and I just got the certificate, and so I've just been practicing. So
good for you, man.
yeah,
You gonna serenade
yeah,
us here a little bit or
yeah.
what? My wife just
I could try.
my wife just started taking harmonica lessons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I've played harmonica all my life, but I'm self-taught, so it's good that she's actually learning from someone who can teach her the fundamentals. And sometimes I wish I had learned the proper way to play guitar and sing and whatnot, but I'm self-taught, which is fine. I've got my own style and everything, but that's good. That's good to learn from somebody who can teach you the roots and the fundamentals.
Exactly.
And then that way you have a good solid foundation. Because I'm limited as a musician. I am, but in a sense that's what my style is. It's a guy who's limited. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and then we'll try this one. You're ready out there.
Okay.
No, hold on, I gotta turn that up. Yeah, I can probably do that again. Okay, here we go.
There was a famous ukulele player in the 70s called Tiny Tim. You ever hear of Tiny Tim?
Oh yeah, my mom heard about him before.
That's about the only famous ukulele player I could think of. It doesn't mean that.
Yeah. Sorry, just trying to get this up. Crazy.
Come on, Paul. You can rip on that, baby.
Yeah. I just gotta tune this up.
Oh, come on. You got to be tuned before you get on stage. Come on now.
Yeah. I know that. I'm trying to how I can find a Christmas song I can write. I don't know if you have any ideas.
What's that?
I said I don't know if you have any ideas for I'm writing a Christmas song, but I don't have.
Oh, yeah. Well, writing, that comes from, you got to start somewhere. So
Right.
you get an idea. Like the way I'll write a song is I'll come up with what am I going to write about? Is it going to be fictional, non-fictional, story song? Is it going to just be a song that expresses a feeling? So you got to start with that, and then I'll come up with maybe a title, or maybe not. Maybe I'll just start strumming. I'll come up with a melody. My songs, I usually start with a melody. Like, that sounds pretty, or that sounds catchy, and then I'll build around that. Then I'll start writing the verses, and I'll just start writing it words that just all the nonsense words, just to get the rhythm of the song. The rhythm, the structure, the flow, built around the chorus and the melody and the premise of the song. And then I'll go back and as a writer, and then I'll get serious about the lyrics, and then I'll hone those and structure those and whatnot. So it's like modeling a piece of clay,
Okay.
And songwriting is it's always challenging, and it doesn't always come easy. But I've done it for so long now that it comes easy. It comes easier for me just because I've been doing it for so long, and I've learned how to get it done quicker.
not good.
Oh, you're going to lose your audience.
Yeah, sorry.
You're going to lose your audience if this goes on too long.
Yeah, that.
Go ahead, just strum a couple of things and we'll call it a day. How's that sound?
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. But
I gotta fix this.
Are you looking for a timer? What time do we start? Or do you want to wrap it up now, or did you have any?
I still got some questions.
Okay.
Real quick. So, do you have any pets?
Yeah, I have a dog, Rocky. Denise and I have always had two dogs. Unfortunately, our Beagle Bailey left us last year. She was up there. She was about almost 16, which is old for a Beagle. And Rocky is 13. He's part Collie, part Labrador, part Golden Retriever, I guess. And he's a great dog. And I love animals. Yeah, I love dogs. I'm a big dog lover.
Do you have a family?
Yes, I have my wife Denise of 37 years and my soulmate. I told you the law of attraction is what brought her to me. And then my daughter Faith, she's 26 and
Oh wow.
Yeah, pride and joy, and she lives in downtown Chicago and she helps run and manage a hair salon. And she's an artist in her own right. She does hair coloring and hairstyling, and we're very proud of her. And Denise and I, we just had a great day a couple of days ago. We all went to the Indiana State Dunes. You ever go there?
No, I haven't. I haven't been there yet.
It's nice. It's a walk along the beach. You can climb the dunes, and yeah. So that's that. And yeah. So
let's see. Do you have a YouTube channel?
I'm sorry.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
Oh yes, I do. Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, Pete Berwick, and anyone can find me on Facebook. My website is peteberwick.com. I would say peteberwick.com. Best place to start. From there, you'll find all my social media links, and where you can sample or buy my music and my books. And it's got clips of some of my films and a lot of photographs and things like that. So yeah, peteberwick.com.
Okay. What is your favorite holiday?
You gotta say that again. What?
What is your favorite holiday?
I like Halloween. I wish I had. I wish I had my Frankenstein mask. I got a Frankenstein mask downstairs. My mom and my favorite holiday. Look, I'm not a Scrooge. I used to be kind of my younger days, I was kind of a bah humbug. I get the spirit, whatever it is. I kind of like. I look at a lot of holidays as a distraction, though, in a way. At the same time that I enjoy them, whether it's a 3-day holiday or whatever, because I don't know. Just personally, being in show business and making my living, and I guess it can be a double-edged sword because sometimes, well, like the film industry all slows down during the holidays, and I don't want to slow down, it's because it's like there's enough downtime in between it all anyway. Like if you don't work for 2 months from film to film, and then suddenly along comes the holidays from Christmas into like January, February, forget. I mean, there's still work out there, but it really slows down substantially. So you asked me a loaded question there. I don't know. Who cares? Who cares what my favorite holiday is?
So what is your favorite season?
I like summer, man. I really do. It's summer. I like.
Me too. Yeah.
It's like I love getting out and enjoying the sunshine, drinking beer, going where I live. We're surrounded by lakes and beaches, and it's great. But I like fall too. but the problem with fall is it's so short, it's over just like that. And then along comes the long winter, but you make the best with what you got. It's one thing I've learned in life, Fulton. It's not where you live. It's all in here, because you can move anywhere where the weather's warm year round, or I'd rather live here where there's mountains, whatever. But this thing goes with you wherever you go. And, you find contentment with yourself. And yeah, I used to think that moving here or living here or there would make me happy. And I feel like at this point in my life, I'm glad that God or the universe or whatever you believe in did not allow that to happen for me, because I don't know whether that would have been the answer to anything. And I feel like now I'm at a point in my life now where I've learned a lot. Yeah, I'll tell you, man, if there's anything I can leave you and your listeners with on this interview, it's like you never stop learning. It's like I in my 50s, you might think like, yeah, when I get in my 50s, I'll have it all figured out. But I didn't. I really didn't. It really wasn't until I hit my 40s that I started hitting my stride. Because I feel like I was catching up with just chasing. I was always chasing the dream of being a full-time entertainer in show business, but I feel like I was looking in the wrong places, and I think growing up without the internet and then growing up with it, they both have their benefits. I mean, I can't say, but definitely growing up without it, you spend a lot of time flailing around, looking in the wrong places. And now with the internet, you can use it as a tool and save yourself a lot of time. But at the same time, you can also waste a lot of time. There's so much junk on there, and there's so many distractions, and there's so many bad things that can become bad habits and habit forming. But if your generation, my daughter's generation, the young people use the internet as the formidable tool it can be. It can be such a great tool, but don't waste time. I wasted enough time in my life without it, just by associating with the wrong friends, just by, I don't know. We all waste time, and you can never get it back. And maybe I didn't waste as much time as I feel as I'm judging myself for. But that's something you can never get back. And hopefully no one sat through this interview going, well, that's an hour and a half I'll never get back. I don't just want to be on here talking about my, gives a crap about me and all the shit I did. I want to leave you and your viewers with something they can maybe learn from me, and maybe they don't need to learn from me, but I feel if I could be an example to anyone, it could be, I'm no different. I've doubted myself, and yeah, I still doubt myself, but not in the way I used to when I was reaching and struggling and falling on my face. It's like, in a sense, I have nothing left to prove, but then to myself, I always do. Really, I don't. I could not do anything anymore. I don't have to work for the money. I don't really. If I didn't do anything else the rest of my life, I've proved myself. But yet, I prove myself, but I'd be fooling myself, because as an artist, and I have to do so. I have to create. I have to continue to perform and create, because that's what an artist does. I don't think an artist ever retires. I think retirement is something that you do when you have a real career. It's like, I don't. It's like, to me, an artist is not a real career. You know that. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but really, an artist is the kind of thing that when you tell your parents when you're young, I want to be an artist. I don't want to go to college. I want to be an artist. I want to be a painter or a poet, an actor, a musician. I want to be an opera singer. You know, I want to make pottery, whatever. As an art, they're gonna. You know, they may not physically slap you across the, but no, you're not. You're going to go to college. You're going to learn a real job. So I don't think an artist ever retires. How do you retire from that? You know, because it's just something that's in you. You know, so that's that.
So what is your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Did you just ask me what's my favorite Thanksgiving song?
No, Thanksgiving food. Sorry.
I was going to say there aren't any. Yeah, I know. There's all these Christmas. Somebody needs to write a Thanksgiving song.
Yeah.
Oh, Thanksgiving, and I eat a lot of food, and then I lie on the couch and I watch my favorite thing. Well, I guess you're asking me that since it's right around the corner. Well, you know, I like it all. I'll tell you this: I like turkey. And why do we only eat it? We should eat it more often because turkey's a good food. But I'll go this way with it. I've always questioned certain Thanksgiving dishes. For example, that green bean dish with all the.
Oh, you're talking about the green bean casserole.
Well, okay, that. Sweet potatoes with marshmallows melted on them. Okay. If that stuff was so good, why is it only served once a year? You know, it's like never once in the middle of summertime did I think to myself, you know what? I'm going to take a bunch of sweet potatoes and melt marshmallows on them. It's crazy. It's goofy, isn't it? But
it is.
We're crazy. The human race. We're unusual people, aren't we, Fulton?
Yeah, we are. Let's see. Do you like cake or pie, chocolate or vanilla?
Cake or pie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely pie. I'm a pie guy. I got nothing against cake, but yeah, I lean towards
kind of flavor.
pie.
What's the kind of flavor of pie?
I don't discriminate. I don't want the Pie Defamation League coming after me. Anything. Chocolate cream, apple, I don't care. I like it all. I don't discriminate when it comes to pie. I don't discriminate at all. I like it all. I like all things. Variety is the pie of life, or the spice of life, or the cake of life. Variety.
Yeah.
I
like that. So what is your favorite movie?
Oh, boy. Good question. My favorite movie. I don't, I can't just say I have one favorite movie because it's like, that's like saying what's my favorite pie. But I do have movies that I'll watch again and again, like Jaws, and really my favorite movies are probably movies that no one's heard of, or I tend to lean more towards the movies that weren't the big blockbusters. Oh God, You Devil, with George Burns, he plays, George Burns was in a movie called Oh God, and then with John Denver, and then he did a sequel called Oh God, You Devil, where he plays the devil. And I relate to that movie a lot because there's a guy trying to make it in music and he kind of sells his soul to the devil without realizing he did. As a comedy, it has a really nice ending. I like a movie called Mr. Saturday Night with Billy Crystal. He plays a washed up comedian trying to make a comeback. Are you aware of that movie at all, Fulton?
I think I have.
It's really good. It's really good, and I can relate to that too, because I've always been making a comeback all my life, and it's like at one time he was a big name comic. He was on the Ed Sullivan Show, and and then suddenly he became passe because the new comics came along, the hip comics, and then so he's trying to make a comeback, and he's performing in nursing homes and things like that. And but see, that's reality though. See, I like movies. I'm not a big fan of like superhero movies. I mean, I'm never going to fly through the air with a cape on my back, and I can't. I like movies that I can personally relate to, just like my reading, where I can go, oh man, I'm in good company. Look at this movie. But I'll tell you, and as far as you asked me a really good question. I could talk all day about this, and I have to jog my memory. Yeah, just recently, a movie called Naiad, and it came and won. I think it was up for an Oscar. Jodie Foster was in it, and it was based on a true story. And there's a documentary of this amazing woman, Naiad. That was her last name, I think. And this woman, in 4 attempts, she attempted to swim from Cuba. She was a swimmer, and she attempted to swim from Cuba to Key West, 90 miles. And man, anyone else would have quit. She got stung by jellyfish, the bad weather. She said she could have used a shark cage. Some swimmers will use she says, no, that's cheating. I'm not going to use a shark cage. I'm going to brave the elements. If a shark wants to attack me, let him try. If a jellyfish stings me, tough. I'll keep going. And on the fourth, I think it was the fourth attempt, maybe it was the third, she got it right. She did it. What a gutsy woman. And I tell you, so that was earlier this year. I watched the documentary after watching the movie. And you talk about being inspired after watching this documentary. This is the sort of thing that got me returning to boxing in my 50s. I think I was reading a book on Winston Churchill, and I was kind of thinking about, getting back into boxing, but I thought, it's dangerous and everything. And then I was reading a biography on Winston Churchill, lying on my couch, all comfortable. And I'm reading about this amazing man and all the things he did. And I thought, boxing is nothing compared to the things the challenges he, standing up against Hitler, and forget about that, just the things he did as a young man in politics. And so after watching the documentary on Naiad, swimming from Cuba to Key West, being endangered by sharks and poisonous jellyfish and storms, and I got off the couch after watching that, and I walked 12 miles. And I've done this before. I've always been a big hiker, but I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm 66, but I still keep myself in shape every day. I do my calisthenics. I don't work hard. I don't work out as hard as I used to when I used to box, because I'm not training for a fight. I'm just training to keep myself from feeling as old as I am. And I walked 12 miles. I just took a really long, because I thought, man, if she could do that, and she did it when she finally succeeded. I think she was in her 50s. And I would recommend that movie to anyone who's challenging themselves, who feels like, I don't know if I can do this. Naiad, N-Y-A-D. And I believe it was on Netflix. I'm not sure. It might have been on HBO. So that's a favorite. I like anything. I like any movie that can inspire, and sure, we want to escape, and I'll watch goofy stuff. I like Jim Carrey, I'll watch a Jim Carrey comedy because he's great. He's great at what he does, and he'll inspire me as an actor and as a comedian. But I think my favorite is when if I can watch something and then click, turn it off, and next thing I know, I'm walking 12 miles. But that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, or start a business or whatever. And same with books. Once again, a book, the right book can change your life. Whether it's a self-help book or a biography, I believe in biographies. Read biographies on people that have done great things, whatever the field. Doesn't have to be show business. It could be whatever your dream is, if you want to be a doctor, a veterinarian, if you want to build things, if you want to start a business, if you want to be a scientist, if you want to be an astronaut, if you want to be just whatever, if you want to be a salesperson, read about people who have done that. I can think of nothing else, because books are cheap. You don't have to, they can be expensive in Barnes and Noble, but I mean, if you go on Amazon or like your local library, I'm surrounded by libraries. There's like, we have 4 or 5 libraries within 1 or 2 or 3 miles of where I live. I can walk to one, and sometimes they have sections where they're just like, take them, they're free. They want to get them out of it, or they're selling them for $1. And these are like books that brand new, they were $35, and maybe they're just a few years old. For $1, I mean, that's like the ultimate backstage pass. A biography on a person who's done great things, and it's 3 to 5 to 600 pages, and they're going to tell you how they did it. This is my life, and this is the hard knocks I took, and this is how I persevered. And at this point in my life, I could have quit, but I didn't. And here's why I didn't. And it's amazing. It's freaking amazing. And anybody, a young person or an old guy like me, they're going to get so much more out of that than wasting half a day on TikTok looking at stupid videos of people twerking and dancing and just doing stupid things.
Let's see. What is your favorite music?
Another good question. I like all music, Fulton. I really do. I can't say like, I like country. I like country rock. I like folk music. Sometimes I just want to hear a man or a woman, young or old. I don't care how old they are. I just want to hear either one. And I tend to, sometimes I'm just more in the mood to hear a woman sing. I think men tend to dominate music, and I think that's a shame because the woman's voice is so beautiful, especially with folk music. Sometimes I love Joni Mitchell, and I have CDs of independent artists, male and females, that I love to put on. Independent artists like me that no one's heard of, and you don't have to be famous for me to like it. It's either good or it's not. And I like folk music. Sometimes I just want to hear a singer and a guitar. I like punk rock. I like the Ramones. A big Ramones fan. Iggy Pop, whatever. But it doesn't have to be that. I like the Cranberries. They're one of my favorite bands, an Irish rock band. I've always liked Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan is a big influence of mine. Chris Christopherson, who just died, he changed Nashville. He changed Nashville. He came and he made it known that country music didn't just have to be all about drinking and getting laid and driving pickup trucks. It's like, yes, a poet, somebody who really wrote deep and meaningful and formidable lyrics could actually. And I never really thought of him as a country artist anyway. I just thought of him as a folk. I thought of Chris Christopherson as more of like a Bob Dylan. But yeah, I like all music. My wife and I, we just went and saw this at community college down the street, where our daughter went for 2 years before she went to UIC for her last 2 years of college in the city. But we went and saw these 2 acts from Columbia.
Okay. And
they were fantastic. Colombian bands. This Colombian band, I can't recall their name, but I bought their CD, and it's sitting downstairs. It's just brilliant. They rocked, man. They rocked, and it's. I guess you would call it world music. World music. I love reggae. And one of my favorite CDs is from this artist. His name is Carlos Ortega, a Mexican artist, and I don't know whether he's resides in Mexico or if he's in the U.S. now. But Denise and I saw him a few years ago at this festival in Chicago called Taste of Chicago, and I bought his CD, and I listen to it all the time. And I can't understand a word he's saying because I don't know Spanish, but I don't care because his voice is so beautiful. It's an instrument. Just like I don't know when people are playing notes. I never learned to read music, so I can't tell you, oh, they're playing a C now or they're playing a D now. I just know I like it. So that's what it is when I listen to him. And I just played him. I just put him on like a week ago. I was on my back deck having some beers. Feels good. The sun is shining. And he's right there with my Jimmy Buffett and my Bob Marley and my bands like these Colombian bands. I've got CDs of bands from Brazil and Trinidad. I like island music. So yeah, I don't put limitations on myself. I'm not one of these guys like this. Oh, I just like heavy metal. Everything else sucks. But that's fine. I like heavy metal too. But I think heavy metal fans tend to be like that. Country music fans can be like that. I just listen to country. Oh, why limit yourself? That's like saying I just eat pizza. So I love the question. And yeah, I probably don't talk about that enough. About I used to be like one of these guys like rap. I don't know. I don't like rap. But through the years, I gave it a chance. I listened to more of it, and I began to understand that rap was basically street. It was black punk rock. It was like what punk rock was to white kids, disenfranchised kids, whether in England with the Sex Pistols or New York City, where punk rock was born with the Ramones and other punk bands like Television, the Talking Heads, and the Dead Boys, and my own bands. That's what rap was, to disenfranchise black kids. And then I started to hear how it was being incorporated. I love what Eminem was doing, incorporating it like when he would do songs with was it Beyonce or Rihanna or one of those, and I love the way he was incorporating rap with melody, you know, and they would incorporate. They started doing different things, you know, and I like that. I like the way they'd be rapping, and then suddenly it would go into like a melody and something, then it'd go back to the, I don't know, maybe there's a term for that, and so I love it all. I love classical opera. There's really even polka. I recently saw Denise and I and my daughter. We went and saw this. They're called the Polkaholics, and you know, but they're like polka, but they're not. They add punk and rock to it. They make it's not just like you know the old guys, the accordion. You know, they take it and they rock it out. So it's like polka for people who don't like polka, and that's how I've been. My critics, a lot of reviews on my music was like, yeah, Pete's country for people who don't like country. And I'm not a country artist. I never really tried to define myself or promote myself as a country artist. But I guess through the year, yeah. You know, when I my first album in Nashville, yeah, as a country, yeah, because I'm using steel guitar players and it does have a country sound and everything, but the industry in Nashville didn't want anything to do with me. It was a small label that helped me produce my first my album Ain't No Train Out of Nashville in 1992. But the industry looked at that as like the kiss of death, because I guess at the time it was considered cow punk, you know, because there were elements of Dylan and punk and other things in there that are not conducive or were not conducive to selling millions of records like Garth Brooks was doing at the time. There's certain rules. And so, yeah, if you want to be the next Taylor Swift, you're going to have to play by certain rules. You can't just, there's certain hoops, and you have to look a certain way and sound a certain way, and then they own you. If you're going to sign to a major label, if you want to be the next Taylor Swift, if that's your goal, well, good luck with that. And then if you do become that, you're owned. You're not told what you can do or not. There's no freedom. And that's I wouldn't know that world because I've never been a part of that world. I never will be a part. I obviously will not be the next Taylor Swift. I don't think I have to worry about that.
Yeah. No, we're not a big Taylor Swift fan, so we're just not liking it. So, but I did hear. I don't know if you heard this yet, but Rascal Flatts is coming back for another concert for 25 years.
Wait, what's coming back?
Rascal Flatts.
Oh, Buster Flats? Wait, who?
Rascal Flatts.
Oh, Lester Flat. Lester Flats?
Rascal Flatts, sorry.
Oh, Rascal. Rascal Flatts.
Yes.
They're coming back.
Yep, they're coming back
Oh, so
next year.
are you a country music fan?
I am.
Okay. I was never. I can't. It's probably not fair to say I wasn't a fan of them because I wasn't that familiar with their music to have an opinion one way or another. But yeah, they were a big act when I was in Nashville in the early '90s. Yeah, Rascal Flatts. Yeah, okay, I got you.
Let's see. What is your favorite? Oh wait, sorry, we answered that one. Sorry. If you could tell the world one thing, what would that be?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Ask that question again.
If you can tell the world one thing, what would that be?
If I could tell the world one thing, what would that be?
Hmm.
Well, I think I have. No, it's a good question. Thanks for asking me again. I believe I have by explaining the law of attraction and the subconscious mind. Because without that, belief in yourself is everything. And it's we all doubt ourselves. It's part of being human. But belief in yourself is everything. So you don't have to ask for permission. You don't have to ask for permission. You give yourself permission. You give yourself permission. And you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait to claim what you believe you deserve or is rightfully yours. But I'm not to say that the work doesn't go hand in hand with that. But it's futile to work hard at something while at the same time thinking, oh, I'm not going to get anywhere with this work. I'm just paying the bills or whatever. And even if you're stuck in a job you don't like, you might even hate it, you can use that as a stepping stone. And a lot of, I've been there too. A lot of people are just, they feel like they're stuck in a job and all they're doing is driving to work or commuting to work and paying the bills. But to get through the day, instead of just going in and doing what's required of you, you could own that company. You could really work by going the extra mile. And I'm telling you, I've got books here on people who have done just that. It's like instead of just going in and doing what everyone else does and waiting for the clock to strike the time of checkout, it's amazing. It's amazing. You don't know what opportunities are there every day in your own backyard, in your own workplace. So I would just tell the world, don't limit yourself, believe in yourself. Because I'm living proof of that, man. I'm one of those, as a kid, I was one of those guys where teachers, Peter, I don't know. I don't know if I give him much chance. I was never one of those most likely to succeed guys, and even, I mean, even though I knew what I always wanted, like I said, Fulton, I worked toward it. I worked years and years and years, and it really wasn't until I hit my 40s that it all came together for me. And that's just me. You don't have to wait that long. I'm not saying that that's how it's going to be, because, it doesn't have to be, So, like, especially if any young people watching this, if I assume you're in your 20s, right?
25.
Okay, I figure you're around that age, but
I just turned 25.
So that's a good age, I mean, it's a wonderful age. See, you've already lived enough life to where you realize, okay, don't want to go through that anymore, but I have so much more to. You have your whole life in front of you, but so you're so young though, and you and anyone else, you're too young. You're much too young to think, And I read about that all the time. Yeah, your Generation Z, Zoomers, or the Millennials. I read a lot about that. How you feel like there's no hope. You feel like things are futile, and the world is a mess, and everything. And the world's always been a mess.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason it seems more a mess, not just for your generation, for Mine as well, a boomer, because we got this thing called the internet, and 24/7 we're just being bombarded with all the problems of the world, and it hits us. So, oh my God, and before the internet came along, you watch the news one time a day, you get half an hour, and you weren't always immersed. And I'm not just saying, it's like, yeah, in a sense, our heads were in the sand. We didn't know what was going on. But now that the internet's here, everybody's like being bombarded. And it does affect mental health because it's, oh my God, and if you're an empath, you're going to be carrying the weight of the world, and you can't carry your, it's like, so you're so, if you're in your 20s, man, oh, give it time. One of my albums is called Give It Time. It's like, don't be discouraged because it might not be until you're in your 30s. It might not be until you're 35, and then your dreams will come true. But that's okay. That's okay, because between now and then, you're going to have time to, that's what it's going to take to get there. And in between, you're going to learn that much more. So by the time you do get there, you'll be able to deal with it more, and it's beautiful. It's wonderful. So I guess patience, it's a Zen thing. It's a Kung Fu thing too. There was a show in the 70s called Kung Fu. And the student was always like, master, when can I go out in the world? When can I spar and fight? And when can I achieve greatness? And the teacher, I know there's a word for a Tai Chi teacher. I can't, but he would always tell his students, patience, grasshopper, patience until you can do. And it would always end with him like, hold this sand in your hand or hold this water in your hand until you can do this. Hold this water in your hand without, and like maybe walk a few miles without spilling a drop. He would give them these difficult things to do. But master, I can't. I spilled it. Well, see, you're not ready. So he would always give them these tests, and he would always say, patience, grasshopper. And I know that's difficult. Because we live in Western civilization. We don't zen out, and I respect our religions, and Buddhism really is about, it's about that. It's about it's the religion of now. It's like the spirit of now. All we have is now. The past is an illusion. The future has not happened yet. That's an illusion. It doesn't exist yet. And so it's what you do with now that creates the future. And it can also heal the wounds of the past. I was talking earlier about how we all waste time. Well, we don't get that back. I'll correct myself. In a way, you can get that back. You can get back wasted time by making better use of the time you have now and the time that awaits you in the future. You can learn from, okay, how did I waste time in the past? And how can I make up for that time? So, yeah, so that's what I would leave the world with, Fulton.
Okay.
I guess I could have kept that answer a little shorter, but that's
fine.
It's hard.
That's fine.
It's hard for me to do.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about yourself?
And I think we covered it all, buddy. I think if I go on too much longer,
it's all right.
It's just going to be a really long episode. But I think I covered all the bases, and you asked some really good questions. So I appreciate that.
How can people find you or be in contact with you?
Yes, PeteBerwick.com. And then from there, instead of giving you all my social media handles, I'm not on TikTok. And there's a lot of others but I'm not on. But yeah, PeteBerwick.com, and from there you can email me, and my social media handles are on there, direct links.
Okay. You just want to put it in the chat, and then we'll see if anybody would like to get it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Fulton. I appreciate you having me, and I wish you all the best. and stay in touch. And
I sure will.
yeah, so just keep doing what you're doing, and yeah, I appreciate it. It's always nice to be given a chance to just to talk and express and share a little bit of where I've been, and hopefully help somebody out there.
Yep, exactly. And make sure you tell Richard Goodall to get
Okay,
in contact with me, and
I'll do that.
hopefully we can get that.
I'll do that. Okay, thanks, Fulton. Take care.
Yep, you're welcome. Enjoy. When's the movie going to come out? Do you know?
Before Dallas, I have no idea. I don't have an answer. You'll know when I know. Yeah, a lot of times it's just it could be a week, it could be a year. There's no telling because there's all kinds of obstacles that lay in the way with post production. And so yeah, I wish I could answer that, but I can't. But for now, I have many movies that if anyone were to look up my name, Pete Berwick, if you just search Pete Berwick Amazon movies and Pete Berwick Tubi movies, TUBI, it'll bring up some of the movies that I've been in, and you can watch them on there. Okay, but I got to run, but thanks.
Right. Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, buddy. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. That was Pete Berwick, legendary actor, music singer, and songwriter. I just want to thank everyone for coming out. So I'm going to post the link in the chat real quick. Alright, folks, we're back. Let me put the link in the chat. Here is. Oops. Channel. Here's the link. We're going to go find a way. Stay tight. Okay, guys, we're gonna go visit a friend of mine, Fog, and we're gonna go visit. Okay, here we go. Rain. All right, guys, that's it for tonight. Rest of the day. Hope everyone has a great Wednesday and stay safe out there. And as always, I'm your host, Mr. Fulton Moraz, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Bye.